Hi, welcome to the Her Story in the Making podcast. My name is Courtney. I'm the owner of Court J Thrifts and the owner of Court J Marketing.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I am the owner of Enliven Medspa, and Delaney is sick with that virus today, so it's just Courtney and I today.
It is just us. We're running solo over here.
Yep. And we don't have a specific topic to talk about today, so we're just going to kind of riff today and just share some of our stories about being business owners.
Yeah.
And I was just telling Courtney too about how it's hard to run a business when this crazy sickness is going around, and trying to find somebody to fill in spots, and hopefully your clientele will be understanding when you don't have a front desk person, or when your massage therapist is sick, or when someone is sick and comes in. So I'm sure that everybody knows that there's so much going around, so hopefully we'll get some grace today.
Yeah, absolutely. And Delaney obviously would want to be at work too, so it's just hard when it comes to that kind of stuff. And then the different aspect of that is when I'm running a retail store and there's stuff going around like that, you never know who has what or like what's there. I just always am trying to use hand sanitizer and wash my hands at least like every hour, because I never know what I'm touching, who's touched what, who has what, if it's in the air. So I'm always like more susceptible to get sick because there's more traffic going through. It's not just the clients. It's okay, 20 people are coming in 1 hour. Not all of them are customers, but they're walking through. And I've heard that the neurovirus is super contagious too. So yeah, I'm nervous. I woke up with a runny nose this morning, so I'm hoping that I'm not getting sick. I'm autoimmune, so I'm scared, but it's fine.
I've had it, and it's no joke.
Yeah, I feel like there hasn't been something that contagious since like COVID was going around. So I'm a little bit.
Well, anyways, we were also talking before this, and you said you had to buy a new car because someone was stalking you. What
Okay, I was like, yeah, Tammy, what can we talk about today? And then I was talking about I was on a call with one of my colleagues or whatever the other day, and I was telling her about this. So I do social media marketing, as you guys know, and there's always upsides to social media marketing, and there's always downsides to social media marketing. So when I started social media marketing back in 2021, I believe that was, it was kind of just like for funsies. I started and I didn't realize how controversial resellers would be on TikTok and how much hate you would get for that. I didn't know that was a thing.
What do they hate you about though?
They say that resellers are like the devil. Like, I hear that one all the time. I'm like, all right, whatever. Because apparently we go to all the thrift stores that are meant for the lower income or stuff like that, and we take all the good stuff. But I don't think they realize that there's billions of pounds of clothing that go to the landfill every year. So like us taking 10 things out of one thrift store isn't gonna take all of the good stuff per se out of there. So yeah, we get a lot of hate for that in that department. But hate specifically on social media was a lot of the times directed towards me. I had no idea how to handle it at first. I would literally, I'm sure some of you guys remember this, but I was 19 at the time when I was receiving oodles of hate, and I was getting like millions and millions of views on videos. I had no idea what was coming for me. I would make individual videos responding back to these people because I had no idea how to handle it. And then it came to be like, it was like consuming. So I just stopped even acknowledging it at that point. But then it got to be like early 2022. And I'd have like a bunch of thrift with me's go viral, stuff like that, of like at Goodwill or different thrift stores, etc. And I never even thought about this. But all of a sudden I have a bunch of people commenting the exact thrift store that I was at. And I was like, okay, I don't think that anybody realizes that you're commenting the exact location of where a 19-year-old girl goes on a day-to-day basis and don't think anything of it. Like, I go there by myself, and then I come home to an empty house. At the time, I was like, I would have been the only one home anytime that I went thrifting. So that got to be super scary, and that was like my first holy crap. Like, this is like not good whatsoever. So you can filter out keywords out of your TikTok comments. So I would like filter out any of like the surrounding cities of where I was at the time. Like, we lived in Eau Claire or like Chippewa. I would filter out all of those other areas. So that helped for the time being. But then people would figure out how to get by it, because people are wild on social media. So they would put like the O, they would put E and then an asterisk, so then it wouldn't flag it, and then it would be U, and then like C asterisk, like, and then people would be able to figure it out. So they would want to know what thrift stores I was going to, but you just have to be good at thrifting. It doesn't really matter what thrift store you're going to.
So how do you get good at thrifting?
You have to be willing to be in there for long periods of time. Like a lot of people will go through the racks and like just look at like two things, or they'll pull pieces of fabric out that go to like towards like what your like color you're looking for. But that doesn't necessarily always mean anything. I will literally sit there sometimes, like on a week-to-week basis. I wouldn't do it every day because nobody has time for that. But I would go through every single rack in the thrift store by item, by item, by item, and I'd spend 2-3 hours in a thrift store. Like, you have to be good at it, or if you're going to do the ladder and you're going to pull certain items out, you have to recognize the feels of different fabrics. Like, okay, this is what cashmere feels like, this is what silk feels like, 100% cotton, viscose, like stuff like that. So you recognize, oh, is this a good material? Is this even worth pulling out? Versus like I can run my hand across a rack and I can figure out if something's from Shein or not without even looking at it. But that comes with experience. That's not like something that's going to come right away. But I've been doing it for a while, so I can recognize different brands and stuff like that. Or I'm always doing brand research on stuff that's trending. So it's like following trends, like cheetah print pants were in for a while. Okay, you pull stuff like that out, but you also have to recognize what brands are fast fashion, what brands aren't, what fast fashion brands are going to sell, because they do still sell when you're having a younger target audience. So it's like, do I go for Target, Shein, Romwe? No. Any like of those online things, or Target where it's really cheap retail where there's no markup on it, I don't go for any of that. Or if it's just going to fall apart after one wear, we try not to go for any of that. But we still do fast fashion in the sense that like a Forever 21 piece will slip in if it's made a little better, or stuff like that, you know. And almost everything's fast fashion these days.
Did you get that black leather skirt for me?
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
I did. It is on the way. It is on the way.
Yay.
Yeah, so I don't know. We kind of learn different techniques too, and I was always doing research when I was first starting too, so there was always different things to learn when it comes to that. So yeah, I'm at these thrift stores, and this is all happening, and I think it was specifically because of one viral video that people were commenting this location. They're like, oh, you're a gatekeeper, like you won't tell where you are. I'm like, do you guys realize, like, this town ain't that big? This is like, it's
there's
really,
one Goodwill.
Yep, there's one Goodwill here, and there's 2 like mom and pop thrift stores and a Savers. Like, if you also, it was funny because this should have been an issue before I realized it was an issue. I guess there's only one Savers left in Wisconsin, and it was in the city that I was.
Yeah.
And people, that would be the only thing I would say. I'd be like, I'm in Wisconsin. Well, people would have known if they would have looked it up. So it should have been an issue a lot longer before it was. But I think it was just some specific viral video that pissed people off.
So what was their end game of trying to find you anyway? Just to...
I don't know. I don't even think it was in a malicious way. But you get that one weirdo and you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, I have no idea, to be honest. I think they just wanted people to know, oh, this is the Goodwill she's going to, like some special Goodwill that puts out all this good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
No, I can literally go there on the tag day, like the color change tag day, and I'll find Lululemon because you don't know what you're looking for. And I'll get it for $1.99 for the color change tag day when it's been sitting there for a month and a half and you don't have a clue.
Right.
So it's not that I am going to these special thrift stores. Sure, some are better than others, but you can kind of recognize that once you get good at it when you're going into a thrift store, if it's going to be good or not.
So what is the crazy story that you have to tell about thrifting?
Oh gosh, the craziest. Oh, actually, this did happen to me last weekend. This actually did happen to me last weekend. So I went out of state and I went to a Plato's Closet 90% off sale. Didn't think much of it. I was like kind of debating between going to this one and one other like further one, and I'm like, I have to edit this sponsored TikTok post and get it out. So I go, it's like 9:40, people are already there. I'm like, oh God, I've never been to one in Minnesota, mind you. I've only been to the ones in Eau Claire. So, and that's not really that wild. So I was like, whatever, there's a line by like 9:45. It's 10 degrees outside, feels like -2 is what it said. I'm like, I'm not getting in no line. Also, this store is big enough where we're all gonna be going to different parts of the store. So I was like, no. So 9:59, I got out, got in the line, went in. I go straight over to the jeans. There's no one else next to me. This lady comes up and she kind of hip checks me out of the way, and I'm like, there's just no way that happened. So I just went right back to where I was. I'm like, I'm not gonna get hip checked by this random blonde lady. I was like, what is going on? So then she kind of is starting to, you know, when you like have a really full rack and you kind of push it so you can see, like, you can have a little bit more room to what? Yeah. So then I went to the opposite end of her. So I was like, all right, not gonna deal with this after she did it again. So then I get like through the plus size jeans and I'm back to the same rack as her. She pushes it like this. So then I push it back, and then she pushes it like this. And I just put my whole body weight into it because at that point I was sick of it. And then she starts screaming at me and yelling at me. And then she told me that I wasn't skinny enough to look at the size I was looking at anyways. I was like, okay. And then I guess she did that to several people. Like, she would go over to look at her size specifically. And those sales attract resellers. Like, that's specifically a lot of resellers that are going to go to stuff like that, because how many things can you really buy that are just your size? Because there's hundreds, if not thousands of items at these sales. It attracts resellers specifically. 90% of it, I can gauge a reseller. 90% of these people were resellers. And she's like telling me, you're not skinny enough to look at that size. And we're all looking at her like, well, yeah, no crap. Like, what do you mean?
Oh my God.
So I don't know if she just didn't gauge that we all were resellers or not. And so then we went up to the checkout. These two poor girls also were trying to deal with this. And there was two of them. Everybody had called out. It was two of them. There was like an angry mob behind the cash register. Some people were complaining about this lady. People were trying to check out. I had totes of stuff. Other people had totes of stuff. I was just behind the register taking off hangers at one point, just trying to like help these two poor girls that were like getting attacked. Yeah, I didn't even look at all the stuff. I just got out of there. That was actually pretty wild. I've never been hip checked at an event before. Usually like at the bins, you got to be ready to take an elbow, but at like a Plato's Closet, I was not prepared to get hip checked and like lose my balance, almost hit the floor. So yeah, circling back to my car situation. So then it became a lot different where people, after my social media journey, where people knew where I was, obviously because I'm at the mall. I also like to think that there's a lot of security cameras and stuff like that in the mall where we're a lot safer being there. And I also try not to be anywhere by myself. I always try to travel in pairs or have my mom there or Drew there, somebody there. Well, I think I was staying late for a live sale or something from that nature, and a friend had been with me at the mall who also owned a business at the mall, and then I think she had just left or something from the nature, and then she came back. Well, I was getting TikTok comments during this live sale, and they were rolling past my thing, something about my car. And it was like my exact make and model of my car, and then the next one, like it was like where my car was in the parking lot, all this stuff. And then the next one was like, yeah, your car looks really lonely out there when it's the only one in the mall parking lot at so-and-so hour at night. I got off that live so fast. I called any Joe Blow that was still up that would answer me. I'm like, I am not leaving this mall. So then the friend had come back out, and I'm like showing her these comments. She's like, what the heck? I think she had grabbed window glass cleaner at the time, like aerosol glass cleaner, because we were like, what is going on? So I got out of there. It would not stop. And this person was making different fake accounts. Every time I would block one or delete one, they would make a different one. And it got so wild that they were taking people from my following and taking their profile pictures and then making fake accounts with people that, like, real people that come to my store's profile pictures, and leaving like the most random stuff about the store, like just slander stuff about the store, threats, all this stuff. It got to be so bad that I actually had to go to the police department and have to get them to try to trace an IP address. And we did figure out who it was. And then I basically commented back, and finally I commented back and I was like, I know who you are. I have an IP address, and keep doing it. You're going to get served with slander paperwork. This is what you're doing is illegal. You can't do that. You can't slander somebody's business when you've never even been there, because I know for a fact whoever it was has never been there. And so then they were going around and they were telling other people like what my car was. And at this point, my mom was so freaked out. She was like, you cannot have my car there alone at night. So then it got to be where people were following me to the mall, or like I couldn't walk out by myself. And it's really inconvenient when you pay to be at a place and you just are trying to work and you're scared that somebody's gonna come do something to you or my car. And then there was a separate incident as well when I was remodeling my store. That kind of had died down, and then it was like January or February of the following year, a separate incident with my car. And I had a flashy car, so I mean, this one, I didn't think quite at first that it was specifically targeted at me. But I was painting, it was like probably 9, 10 o'clock outside the mall because TJ Maxx was shut down. So I had to win past 9:30. I was painting out in the hallway, and my mom's painting out in the hallway. She goes, Courtney, there's someone pulled up next to your car. And it was far enough out where should not have been anybody near my car specifically, even if they were coming to the mall to park or do whatever. So I'm like, what the heck? And so I walk out there, I'm like, what are they doing? And at that point, I'm like, I ain't going out there. And my mom's like, I'm not going out there. And then they got out of their car. Like, they're inches from my car, got out of the truck that they were in. It was a red truck. And then it clicked in me that it could have been the same person that was commenting, or there was one other possibility of who it was, and it was a guy. So my mom's so mad at me about this to this day. I dropped my paintbrush on the frickin' thing, splatter paint, we had to clean that up, and I took off running out there because I was like, I don't know if there's any security cameras at the angle that this is going to get at. I'm like, don't want to pay to fix this. I'm like, ain't no way, I'm just going to try and scare him. So I took off running out there, figured out who it was really quick when they literally looked at me, seen me, and then sped off in the sunlight, in the daylight, and then that was it. I was like, I'm getting rid of my car. I'm not posting my car. I'm not doing anything. And that was my prime lesson of what I was trying to talk to my colleague about the other day with bringing this all up was don't post anything on social media that is about your personal life story. Like, I don't have Instagram posts on my personal anymore. I barely post on my personal Facebook unless it's about the store. I tell people not to tag me in things. Like, I don't want anybody to know what the exterior of my house looks like. I don't even want people to know what the color of my siding looks like on my house. I had recently moved for another purpose of that. We have security cameras on all sides of the house. You can call me paranoid, but I've just dealt with so much through social media throughout the years that there's no way that any of that would ever be happening to me again. So I have dash cam on my car now. There's security cameras on all sides of the house. We have deadbolts. We have different precautions for different things just because I still do have all of these social media videos up that still do randomly gain traction and get hate comments, like a surge of them or whatever, crazy people trying to DM me, tell me I'm this and this and this, and it's a lot. And it is really scary because some people that are young on social media post whatever and you can see their house in the background, and I'm like, I am scared for you because there's so much that can happen with you can reverse Google search image a house. So it's like, don't post pictures of your house, don't post pictures of your car, don't do anything. So when I tell people, they're like, oh, did you get a new car? Nope. Would you drive to work today? Oh, mom dropped me off. No one, even if we're friends, you don't need to know what I drive. Mm-hmm. I don't tell anyone what I drive. I don't tell anybody anything. And also, anybody does figure out what I drive, if the wrong person does, I'll switch vehicles. It's just that simple. I don't deal with it anymore because it was so bad. I also got a lot less flashier of a vehicle, so I blend in a lot more these days. But yeah, there's some scary stuff that happens on social media. That was the moral of that story. I know it took me a long time to get there and I got off on 7 side tangents, but I just see so many people that are young and their whole marketing strategy is, oh, I have this and I have this, and that used to be mine. Believe me, I worked hard for this. You want to flash it off? It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. You're going to have haters no matter what. Nobody cares. Also, what you all the things you worked hard for, nobody cares. They're going to hate you no matter what. Whether totally you have this or that or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Well, they see what you have, but they don't see how you got what you have, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's stuff like that. I'm sure you even deal with it the same way, where you have this and you have this, you just bought a house, you have this car, you have a very nice car, you have this and that, and people hate on it. They don't see the behind the scenes of how hard I worked for that. And I still get that to this day. People underestimate how much work that I actually put in. Well, I haven't had a day off in, I don't even know, besides one because I was in the emergency room, but that was my technicality. But besides that, it's when we throw big events like this and then the summer switch over for my stores coming up after that, there's no day off. It doesn't work like that. I'm sure. Today is supposed to be my day off. Yesterday and today I was at the mall for 11 hours yesterday on my day off. Today I'll probably be there for about the same, and then I have another 7-day work week coming ahead of me, and then another 7-day work week, and then we have an event, and then another 7-day work week.
Yeah. How do you take care of yourself though? What do you do for self-care?
That is a great question. I feel like it definitely slips away from me at times. I try to still, like, I'll go on the days that I'm supposed to have off. I still have somebody working in the store, so I can still leave to go do other things. So, like, I still get my nails done. I get Botox. I get whatever. I get facials. I do whatever to try and keep myself calm. Try to make sure I get enough sleep at night. That's number one priority too. I try to go to bed at a reasonable hour. Otherwise, the fatigue gets to you real quick. What do you do for self-care besides, like,
I love going to other spas.
Yeah.
I love going to retreats and just finding ways to, like, find my zen. I love going home and going into my room and just shutting the whole world off too.
Yeah.
And spending time with my dog. But I do really take care of myself because the work that I do too, outside of owning the spa, I'm also a healer, and I do lots of long distance healings all over the world, and I'm going to Texas again in February. So I have to stay grounded and in alignment and balanced. Otherwise, I'm not going to be good to myself or anyone else.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I feel like definitely with what you do specifically, that's really important too, because you're trying to help everybody else keep their zen too. So it's like if you don't have your zen.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's also practicing what you preach. I mean, I own a wellness center in Medspa, so it's important to be the face of the business and to be look a certain way and to feel a certain way and to project that onto other people. It's not like, but trust me, I'm going on year number 7 in February, and the first 5 years I probably worked like you are, 7 days a week, never shut it off. My fiance would be like, "You're on the phone again, you're booking appointments, you're doing marketing, you never shut it off."
Yep.
I'm like, "Nope, you don't." When you're like starting a business, you're married to it.
Oh, 100%. And even when I go to bed sometimes, the thoughts don't stop. Like, I'll be thinking about, I need to do this tomorrow, I need to do this tomorrow. And it'll take me hours sometimes to fall asleep because I didn't get this done today, I didn't get this done today, I have to do this, I have to do this. So it's like when I fall asleep, I'm usually knocked out. Like, it's like 5-6 hours over, I'm not waking up, I'm dead to the world, I'm not doing anything ever, because I will try to lay down by like 8-9 o'clock. I might seem like a grandma, but if I get home at 7:30, I'm still in bed by 8. Like, I will eat something and I will lay down.
I think that's smart though,
because I know it takes so long to turn my brain off too.
And then, so for myself personally, I mean, I have my parents living with me now, but before that, I love having my house clean in a certain way, and I keep it tidy, clean, but I have 2 kids also and a dog.
Fair enough.
So I would hire somebody to come and clean my house.
Yeah.
Because it's like I would rather pay somebody and support their dream and take that extra time for myself. So just finding different ways that way also to take care of yourself, and I like to clean, but I would rather do other things.
Yeah. You also have to figure out what is more important to you for time management skills and what's not. So I'll be fully self-aware. My boyfriend will be the first one to say this. When I get home, I'm probably not doing anything whatsoever, especially like the month of an event. When I was like living by myself, I've lived by myself for years, but when I lived by myself, laundry pile up, dishes would pile up, or I would use plastic silverware, plastic this and that, because I would be like, I know that I'm coming home and I'm going to bed and then I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go to work the next day, and I'm not gonna do any of that. It's gonna be it's on absolute last priority, and it's still hard sometimes to get Drew to realize that I'm like, I come home and I don't care about these dishes. I don't care about this. I will do the laundry when this is over. It's just like, some people don't get that there's things that like on my mind that like I'm dead set focused on this event, and I'm dead set focused on this summer switchover, and I'm gone to the world for everything else. Like, there's just,
you have your blinders on and this is what I'm focused on, and everything else can wait.
And I know that's terrible, because I know there's other things too, but like, we were gonna go to my cousin's basketball game last night, and I'm like, I have to get up tomorrow morning, I don't even know if that's a good idea. And then Joe's like, we gotta go grocery shopping. I'm like, I really don't want to. He's like, we have no food. I'm like, all right. It's like pulling me to go get me to do something else, because I want to go home and I want to edit this TikTok, I want to schedule this marketing post, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then sometimes I'm like, Courtney, you need to stop. Just
Yeah, you need to take time for yourself too. And that's what McKenna one day, she's like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, good question.
I get asked that too all the time. I'm like, I go thrifting for fun.
But I bet you do love it though.
I do.
And it's a rush, I bet, like finding finding those diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, like last week when I was in Minnesota, it was so funny because I made so many friends at like all these Plato's Closets that I went to like all over the state of Minnesota. And I was literally behind the counter at this one, and I was like talking to the owner, and I was helping the girls, and I probably removed like literally probably 500 hangers off of these clothes, and they'd already probably removed another couple hundred. And so I'm just like behind the counter. People are asking me questions because they think I work there, and I'm like, I've done this enough where I'm like, I know. So I was answering questions at these random people's businesses and like all this stuff, but it didn't feel like work because it wasn't my own.
Oh yeah.
So I was basically working, and thrifting technically is work for me. Technically, that's my tax write-off, that's my inventory expense, that's whatever. But
what is the biggest thrifting score that you've ever found?
Oh gosh, I feel like there's so many things in like different ways, because like we do volume oriented, so like we try to go and I'm getting hundreds and hundreds of pieces. If I don't at least get 100 pieces on a thrifting outing when I'm going out of state, it's not considered a success. But like my favorite things to find are like, I would say Rothy's was like my number one thing to find when I was most excited about. If you don't know what they are, they're this like really expensive shoe, and they were super trendy back in like 2021, 2022 when I was first starting reselling, and I found a pair. I think I talked about it for probably 2 weeks. And they sold right away. I made like $100 off of one pair of shoes. And yeah, that was probably like that's still my favorite one to this day, because I remember specifically how excited I was about it. But like I find cool stuff all the time. I feel like I get Patagonia jackets, I get Lululemon jackets. Like now we get 1,000 items of Lululemon at a time, so it's not as exciting anymore. But like when I go to all these places, like if I find something, like I found these Anthropology pants that are new with tags, and I love finding like new with tags, Anthropology, new with tags, Free People, stuff like that. And I found a lot of it this last weekend, so that was super fun.
Oh, excellent.
I feel like everyone has their own thing that they get excited about. Or if like you, in my opinion, if you have a favorite brand for yourself too, and then you go and you find that's sometimes more exciting than something that's retails for 10 times as much.
Do you have a hard time if you find stuff that you love, putting it on the shelf?
Literally, we were doing a TikTok call. My poor boyfriend, I made him stand outside yesterday. Thank goodness it was way warmer than it has been yesterday, but I made him stand outside yesterday. We were probably out there for an hour and a half, and I was filming every single piece that I got in this thrift haul. My car was full. Like, you couldn't see out of my back window. Oh my God. And he's out there, he's like, it's cold. Can we be done? I'm like, no. And in my head, I feel bad because he does not getting paid to do this. He doesn't want to get paid to do this. Like, he's like, no, I'm done. And I'm like, no, like, we started this. We have to finish this. Like, that's my thing, but that's just from owning a business. But
I'm the same as you. It's like, I'll, like, so driven to do it, like, making it happen. It's like, go, go, go. And everybody's like, yeah, I'm out of here.
Literally, like, at a certain point, and that's also, like, my biggest fear of, like, I always tell people, like, hiring people, my thing, like, this is my baby, this is what I put everything in my life for, so it's like, I'm gonna do it till it's done. Everybody else, it's just their 9 to 5, like, they don't actually care. So that's like my biggest fear. That's why, like, having my grandma and my mom help me, it's like they care, like they know, like they're not gonna screw it up, or like they're not gonna like leave if something's not done, or what, or something, stuff like that, you know. That's why I 10 times prefer to have my family help me out too.
1000%.
Like for my Lululemon event coming up, I have my A team, you know, on it, except we have a couple substitutes because my cousin Chase has a college visit that he, like, has to go to, obviously, and then my cousin Bailey is at college. I don't know if she's going to come back or not. She might. She likes the Lululemons. The Lululemons are fun. They're actually fun to work. Bet. So I have a couple substitutes. I have, like, Chase's friend working. Riker, he's a cool dude. I don't know if Riker listens to this, but hey, if you do, Riker Ebert. Yeah. I know who he is, yeah. So Riker worked the last one, so he's going to work this one. That's my Aunt Carrie, she's back in. Yeah, she's back in. She was out last time because it was at 6 a.m., so she wasn't coming.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
She was like, no, I'm not attending that one. That's so, yeah. Awesome. So I have, like, people that I specifically trust to help me out when I need help. Like, if I'm desperate for help, I'll ask. I was talking to my friend Marissa the other day. She's like, I don't know how you do that, like, because you constantly want to pull your hair out. I'm like, oh, yeah, all the time. I can't think of a day in the last month that I haven't wanted to pull my hair out. But I hide it pretty well, though, too. My mom's favorite saying, when she always told me this, too, and I learned this from getting so much hate on social media, is fake it till you make it. No one has to know that it's bothering you. No one has to know that you have 10 other things going on. And quite frankly, no one else cares. So keep it to yourself. Deal with it. Figure it out. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I have a question for you. So,
Yeah.
the store that you're in now,
Yeah.
do you feel like that is a store that you're going to be in, like for the longevity of your, or have you outgrown it, or is there more room to
Yeah.
to expand there?
And that's the thing that we're dealing with currently at the moment. My lease renewal just came up, and it kind of got me thinking. I'm like, okay, when we're talking another year, we're already busting at the seams in the current space that we're in. When I think another year, I'm like, oh gosh. So we actually recently started renting my old store, which is right next. So my store is like right by the doors of the mall towards TJ Maxx, and then there's a middle store and then the cafe. I'm actually renting that. It's like, I've been telling everybody it's my really expensive storage unit. So I'm renting that right now just because we have so much stuff. And when we do these Lulu events, I have to rent it anyways. I'm like, I might as well just have it for the whole month, have a like storage. We're going to put crap paper up because it's a chaos in there right now. So people can't see through the windows. But yeah, we're working on it. We're potentially working on a solution as well to that, whether it's getting a bigger space or potentially building. I'm kind of in talks with some realtors, some commercial realtors, pretty much any Joe Blow that'll listen to me. And I've been talking to everybody and anybody that cares or doesn't care,
That's
quite
exciting,
frankly.
right?
So we'll see. We'll probably be where we are for at least another year, just because things like that take time to figure out. Or if something comes up in the mall where it's like, it's bigger and we can move to something bigger in the mall. Even like we don't even have all of our stuff in that little stores. Like I have probably 25, 30 totes in my garage. My mom has probably 25, 30 totes at her house. We've already filled that little store within the last 24 hours, and it isn't even anything that was in our houses. It was cars, it was this, it was stuff that we were hiding in the back room, piled to the ceiling in the store, stuff that was in the corner, stuff that's in the bathroom. Like, it's so, there's so much when you have an operation where you're going through so much volume, and now I'm trying to get back into online selling. In an ideal world, I would have something where I could have somebody working my store. I would have a wall in the store, and then I could be doing live selling, website pushes, story sales, stuff like that in the back. That would be in an ideal world. So I'm looking at like the avenues of potentially like a build out, building something, but things like that take literal years. So we'll see. We're where we are for now. I don't have anything against the mall. The mall has done me great. They've been super cooperative and super flexible, and if we can figure something out where like there's something bigger that we can move into, that would make sense though, because there's a lot of big spaces where it's like empty in the mall. It's like we need something with storage, with walls, with back rooms, with
Well, at least
stuff
now
like
you
that.
know what you need and what you want,
Yeah,
right?
and it takes a while to get there too. I
Yeah,
feel like even
I
you know
agree.
that you don't
Yeah.
know what you need until you need it.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
that makes any sense.
I hear you. Yes.
So we're working on it. I would like to think that we're going to get something bigger within the next couple years. But it also is a big fear of mine too, that when you move a location where you've been for the first 2 years of your business, are the people going to follow? Because
Totally. Especially with your social media footprint, people will follow you, because I know that I have my spaces up for sale, and I'm going to be moving, and I'm super excited about it. Like and I've moved like 4 times.
Yeah.
So people will follow you wherever you're at, because you are a specialty store also.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of followers, so people are going to follow you wherever you go. So don't even worry about that.
Yeah, that's like my biggest fears. I'm like, especially because we have all those tourists in the summer, where summer's our busiest months, and we have all the tourists that probably will come back this year. So it's like, that's my biggest fear, is all these tourists that probably don't follow me on social media but know where to find me, where it's like those were our biggest customers in the summer. So it's like that's like the little stuff in the back of my head where it's like, oh, maybe I would like to just move in the mall. It has to be something that makes sense for everybody though, involved, where it's like I'm not taking up a space that would work better for somebody else just to be like holding it temporarily, because I don't want to do that either. Stuff like that. So for now, the little store for storage and for live sales, and then like my store for retail purposes, and then stuff at my house is just what it's going to have to be. But we'll see. There's some commercial lots available in town that we're kind of looking at. I'm in talks with 10 million and two people. Everybody's telling me, oh, this is doing this, so-and-so is doing this, Joe Blow's on the corner doing this. I'm like, I don't know. Tell me when something's available, I guess. Like, I don't know what to do. So we'll see. Yeah. But
well, next week we have a guest, right?
Yes. I forgot about that. Yes, we do. McKenna is going to be a guest next week, and I already have my list of questions prepared for her.
She's going to be ready.
She'll be on it. McKenna always, I can't get a question by her. She's on it. She's punctual.
Yeah, she is.
She's the queen.
Yes. Well, you guys have a great weekend.
Yes, and absolutely. We'll be back with hopefully Delania next week too.
Yes.
Hopefully we got the whole crew here next week.
Yes. Have a great day.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next Monday.